Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the People's Pitch podcast. I am John. I'm here with Nate.
Hey, what's up?
And this is the official podcast of Minneapolis City SC. We'd like to make a quick mention that this podcast, as all podcasts that we do are, is sponsored by the official craft beer of the People's Pitch, Summit Brewing Company. Summit Brewing Company is celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, and there is much going on. For more information, check out summitbrewing.com for more details on beers, tours, and upcoming events. So visit summitbrewing.com for all your 30th anniversary Summit Brewing Company needs.
Delicious.
It's very delicious. It's also the official consumable beer of the People's Pitch podcast. No more than 2, though. We want to make sure that we're able to give you the insights that you deserve. But speaking of the insights that you deserve, a great soccer philosopher once said, I overheard them when they were speaking, that soccer is a gift. And every time you get to put on a jersey and touch the field, you should be blessed that you've been given that gift. Well, I'm thinking, Nate, doing this podcast is a gift for the people, and they should be blessed to listen to us, give them the insights on Minneapolis City SC.
Yeah, that's right. Soccer is a gift. Every day you play, you are blessed. But those of us that can't play, we do color commentary on the internet. So that's what brings me here. All right. I like it.
Nate, tell me how you're doing.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Recovering from the first episode. Shouldn't say recovering. Digesting the process of the first episode. Feel kind of good about it.
Yeah, how'd it go for you? How'd it go for you?
We got some good feedback. I think we really, we're starting to gel, you and I. We're bros.
Peanut butter and jelly.
We're bros now, but we really want to make sure that people know that if they've got something they want to hear, they need to email us, and that probably came from the fact that we flubbed the email address about 4 times.
Well, let's be honest. If we're going to be partners here, Nate, it's not a we. I did.
Oh, take responsibility for yourself.
I will take responsibility for my own action. When it comes to the details, I am not the best. And I also will correct my uhs and ums that I've been saying often, I promise. But as far as the email is concerned, I just did it again.
Yeah.
As far as our email address is concerned, Nate, why don't you, being the professional podcaster that you are after 2 episodes, why don't you tell us what it is?
It is MCSCPodcast at gmail.com. MCSCPodcast at gmail.com. Make sure you email us with all of your podcasting requests.
Write it down on the back of your hand. Remember this, because we'll get it wrong at some point.
Write it on the back of your Dixie cup.
Yeah.
All right, but coming up today, let's talk about today. We've got some good content for you. We got a recap of the invite-only trials that occurred this past week, as well as a training match that MCSC did with the MTA U-18 squad, which is a little more challenging than you'd expect. And I also got a nice chance to talk to Coach Kicker, so we'll kind of go through that and break down what he had to say about the team. But first, I've got a quick gripe. There was an article in Sports Illustrated last week about the likelihood that Minnesota United is not going to enter the MLS as Minnesota United because there are 2 other Uniteds, DC United, and then somehow Atlanta gets preference over us.
Yeah, we were actually gifted the spot before Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird.
It's a little controversial. It sounds like the Atlanta owner is the guy that has all the pull.
Yeah, Arthur Blank. Yeah, isn't he the guy who invented Mickey Mouse?
What? No. So we're going to have to give it some thought. But, the Minnesota United name is something that means a little bit to some people. But if we did have the opportunity to rename our team, what would you do? What would it be?
I mean, I would just swap with Atlanta and take their old names to be the Minnesota Silverbacks.
What? That doesn't make any damn sense. And then we have a loon logo.
I mean, nothing makes sense when it comes to the fact that Minnesota United's had, or Minnesota soccer in general, from a top tier perspective, has had 6 different names in 20 different years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But so might as well call ourselves the Silverbacks. At least get a cool logo out of it.
Might as well. I mean, we do have a pretty cool logo. Would you go with the old school, with an old school name like just FC or something, or would you do what the Columbus or LA did, where they just have a nickname.
And
like
just
the
put
Crew,
it like four
the
guys,
Galaxy,
four guys with their lunch pails. And
Portland
their hard
Timbers,
hats.
Seattle Sounders. Would you just go with a nickname like that?
I feel in general it's just unfair to Minnesota United that they have to swap their name out with a team that was selected in after them. You can totally tell it's a case of league mandated, maybe backroom deals, bags full of cash with dollar signs on them that have been exchanging hands. Definitely, we don't fact check those type of things, so don't take me seriously there. But I feel like Minnesota United's kind of getting the raw end of the deal. They may go with something like the Loons, or who knows what they're going to go with.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But we kind of sucks.
Well, there are competition across the way there, across the river in St. Paul, when we start suiting up against their reserve team. So we wish them the best at the senior level,
yes,
not at
the
second level. But either way, however you slice it, MLS is doing something that I don't really agree with.
Speaking of recent articles, did you see this thing about Tokyo Sex Whale running for the FIFA president?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Sex Whale for president.
For those of you, and we promise we'll get into Minneapolis City stuff here, you really can't...
He's a South African FIFA official. He's their minister. I'm looking at Wikipedia here. He's their minister of human settlements. He's a soccer star. He was, I don't know where he got the Tokyo nickname.
Actually, I do know. If you read further into Mr. Sex Whale's Wikipedia page, he got the nickname Tokyo for his love of martial arts.
Oh, so he's a karate chopping ex-soccer player, and his last name is Sex Whale. Unfortunately, it's just the problem is it's just another classic case of a potentially hilarious life story being ruined by the evils of apartheid because he was imprisoned alongside of Nelson Mandela. So.
Right. I mean, the world's game might as well. The joke that the world's game become after Sepp Blatter and his regime just completely ruined it.
Right, so we're going to go from like the joke that was the FIFA at an international level to having a guy named Sex Whale as their president. So, I mean, hey, the hits keep coming for FIFA.
Yeah, Sex Whale 2016. I'm on the ticket.
I'm on board.
Yeah, I'm on board too. I have nothing really else to say besides the fact that you can't write a name and a script better for FIFA than a guy named Tokyo Sex Whale. All right, so Nate had mentioned that we were going to talk a little bit about the invite-only trial. It went very well. We had briefly touched upon it last episode that we had some players coming out that were invite-only, and I believe I had also mentioned that I would feel comfortable with the fact that if we were to go in with without the college guys that are coming back into town from a Division I perspective, and any new signings that we haven't come across yet, I'd be comfortable with picking an 11 or even a 15 out of the group that came out for the invite-only trials. And those were mostly made up of some of the top high school kids in the area, local colleges, MIAC guys. I think we went even as far down as St. Olaf, I believe, and we had some guys from Northwestern. St. John's. It was a wide net cast to the Division III level in Minnesota, and then your top level Minnesota men's league players. So guys coming from the MASL Division I. There were a few guys from Division II and Division III that did come out as well. So it was a strong group.
How many guys came out for that?
There was, I believe, we invited upwards of 40. That was kind of the max we had for the space that we had for it. And I'd say about 30 showed up, and we were able to select a group from the 30.
What kind of trials do you put the potential players through?
Well, the Wonderlic test.
Oh yeah, just to make sure they're not sociopaths.
Yeah, we just want to make sure
they can tie their own shoes.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're not dealing with someone like Joseph Randall of the Dallas Cowboys who just gets arrested every month.
Yep, Demetrius Underwood. Do you remember Demetrius Underwood? He ends up crazy in a bus station in Michigan.
Yeah. Yes. If you can ball and you're crazy, we'll consider you. But no, we all joking aside, mental health issues are not a joke. But Nate. But we put them through the normal warm-ups. We did some skill drills, some passing drills. shooting, your basic skills assessment. We're not going to just throw a guy out there and say play. We want to make sure that they can do the basics to be even given a shot. And then we split things up in small-sided games, and then we were able to get a good idea of the guys we want to bring back for the training match against Minnesota Thunder Academy under 18s. So we wanted to be able to see those guys then in a larger setting, in an actual setting versus 5 or 6 aside or 8 aside.
Cool. So you know this. My boy plays for the St. Croix club team on the U-8 squad. Ooh. And it sounds like kind of what they put those kids through even in their tryouts. Like, you're making sure that these guys have the basics down first, and then you advance them forward into more complicated stuff. Is this kind of, obviously what 8-year-olds do is much different than what these 19 to 25-year-olds do. It's not that much different, Nate. It's the speed and the skill at which they do the basics. So if a guy comes to trials and he can't make a simple 5-yard pass to save his life, but the guy can hit shots from like 30, 40 yards and pick out spots, you might not go with a guy like that, where you'd go with a more well-rounded player who's able to do all of it well versus one thing well. So what you're saying is, kids, keep practicing.
Yeah, if you seriously can't do the basics, find something else to do. It's a higher level of soccer is not for you. But when you're a kid and you don't get it, you're going to be getting the tutelage and the teaching of coaches throughout your adolescent life, teaching you the basics and being able to kick around on your own and learn the game, as opposed to someone who's maybe 22, 23, or 28 trying to fix a problem that they should have fixed when they were 8, 9, 10. So a little bit longer of a answer to your question.
No, that's good.
But yes, they go through the basics, and then from there, like I said, we split them up into smaller training groups. We lost a few guys after the first training. Some just didn't come back. Some we didn't invite back. But out of that, we were able to build what we believe is the makings of at least a serviceable team that could do well in our league. Not to mention the like I said, the firepower that we're getting at a younger age from the Division I level coming back in the summer, which I believe you talk a little bit about with Coach Kicker when you get into the interview.
Yeah, so at the least, these guys are going to help make up a strong reserve squad if they get if they have to vie for a first team position against some of these college.
Right, I would say that the Stegman's Internationals team competing in Division I MASL is going to be very strong this year because of the fact that it is a true first team, reserve team structure that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
So guys are going to get plenty of games, and when I say guys, I mean we're going to have about 30 to 40 in a pool of players for Minneapolis City and for Stegman's Internationals that we can pick from. Obviously, your top 8 to 10 guys that are going to be your starters or the horses you're going to hitch the wagon to for Minneapolis City, you're not going to want to have them going out in a Division III men's amateur game, or even
just crushing,
or getting hurt,
right?
Or a Division I game. But say someone does pick up a knock or an injury, they can use those games in the amateur division as a rehab game. So, like you said, our second team or our reserve team, and I don't really even like to call it that. I would still call it kind of like 1B, is going to be very strong.
Diplomatic of you.
Yes.
So a lot of these guys ended up playing on Sunday. We got a chance to get out to the Holy Angels Star Dome.
Oh, yes.
Right? And watch the scrimmage against the MTA U-18 team. Might seem a little strange to pit guys that are, in college for the most part, or just out of college, against some 18 to 16-year-old kids, but sounds like there's some good stuff we accomplished. Yeah,
there is. You'll hear about it in our interview with Mr. Kicks, Coach Kicks. And I kind of want to take it back a little bit. So for those of you who are listening that don't know who MTA is, it's the Minnesota Thunder Academy. It's the developmental academy team in Minnesota that competes all over the country with other developmental academies like LA Galaxies, Development Academy, Chicago Fire. So every higher level team that has a D, they call it a DA, has a DA. That's who we played against. So the 18s.
I'm sorry, who'd you say they're the DA for?
They were the DA for the old Minnesota Thunder.
Oh, okay.
So at the time,
and they've just kind of hung on to
as
MTA. An organization.
Yep.
Correct.
Correct. So essentially, in theory, this is the top 18-year-olds that are in the state of Minnesota, outside of maybe a few other clubs like St. Croix or like Shattuck. that can produce teams that may be better or be able to compete with them. In the past, I know that MTA has been kind of upper echelon. Recent years, I'll be honest in saying that the team that we played against was not the best under-18 team that I've ever seen from a playing style perspective. They were very physical, which was something interesting for us to see against a men's league side or a men's side. Excuse me. But they should be the top 18-year-olds in the state. And unfortunately, we were unable to see one of our signings, Duncan in net for MTA. His development commitment still goes until the beginning of the summer, so we won't see him yet. And he is injured, so we were hoping we could play against him and see how he would fare against some of the guys
that would have been cool.
That'll be on his team. But a little bit of an injury that he picked up that he wasn't able to play. So that's who we played against. There were some bright spots that we saw. Out of the team that we brought in, I think that Aaron Olson at center back, who's played for Stegman's Internationals for last year and for many years, but went to Trinity University at center back. I thought he played very well. He was very composed on the ball. He was able to hold the back line down. Very patchwork back line because we didn't have a few of our choice defenders that were able to make it due to injury and due to some prior commitments.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, this is the first time I'd seen any of these guys in action, and the biggest center back out there, what was his name, Lanny? Yeah, this is
former
a guy,
Clemson Tiger.
This guy is just a ripped monster. I guess he's a trainer at Lifetime. The guy plays on and off around town. And
he used to play for Minnesota United Reserve. Played for, funny enough, full circle, Atlanta Silverbacks at one point.
And I thought this guy was big, and then he comes off to the sideline and starts talking to us about how the guys that are already signed for Minneapolis City are even bigger than him, and he was hoping to see some of them out here.
Yeah, look out forwards. Talking to you.
Sounds like we have some beasts.
We do. We got some grit at the back. They just unfortunately weren't able to make it. But Aaron Olson, who you may figure him slotting in at maybe more of an outside back or even maybe a holding midfielder, central midfielder, played really well. I thought his communication was good, his distribution was good, and he really, like I said, he anchored down the back line of there was very much so patchwork. I think another the guy to mention too is Chris Riera. Played outside left mid and defensive mid in the second half. Chris is I believe he's still a senior, or he just graduated from De La Salle and high school, and I was very impressed with how he did holding down the midfield, especially with the fact that you get into these games, Nate, and communication is an issue. Guys don't know each other yet.
Yeah.
They're used to fighting each other for a spot on the provisional squad list, and now you have to figure out how to play with a guy who you were just trying to kick a week ago. Mm-hmm. So I thought Chris, especially at his young age, even though he's playing against 18-year-olds, I'd like to see him translate that to playing against men versus playing against pre-men. The MTA pre-men squad. But I thought he did really well, and I think that he's definitely a bright spot to look forward to this summer. And then we'll wind it off with one of my favorite guys, Mr. Tim Willis, our target forward. He played for Stegman's Internationals last year, graduate of Carleton University, just scored buckets of goals for Carleton.
He scored a great header goal on Sunday.
I believe,
didn't he?
I believe he might have had.
Did he have both of them?
I think he had 2 goals, I believe. But Tim is one of those guys, you look at him, and no offense to him if you're listening, doesn't look like the most athletic guy in the bunch. But his positioning and his ability to make 1 and 2 touch and move off the ball and get into scoring chances and then converting those scoring chances is great. And I think that you partner him with someone like Sam Forsgren, who we're bringing in from Northwestern, and you're going to have a pretty good 1-2 punch of control and speed, and then Sam just being a complete baller in his own right. So I thought we did well. The bright spot, I thought too, one more to kind of recap here, was another person from the men's league was Ben Wexler, who was kind of more of a withdrawn forward and a central midfielder. He comes to us via, I believe, Inferno. He played with the Minnesota United Reserves in the past few summers, product of Providence, and then finished his career at Augsburg. He was dynamic. He was great. He came in, and I think he completely changed the game, was able to turn defenders in the middle of the field and then attack and start the attack from deeper in our zone. I thought his first touch was incredible, and I would have liked to see him maybe pull the trigger because he got himself into some scoring opportunities after he would do all the hard work, and then he would pass it off. So I think that Ben is definitely a person I think you'll see getting first team minutes, I'd hope. Maybe not being your foundation, but a great luxury player to have as we get into the dog days of summer.
Maybe be a little more selfish in the future there.
Yeah. Be you, Ben.
One guy I wanted to touch on really briefly because it was he's kind of an anomaly that was there was young Tyler Johnson, right? And he was the only high school kid that suited up for our team.
Tyler's one of our development players this year, so we're looking for him to be kind of the bedrock of the future.
Mm-hmm. And he plays currently for Como?
Como Park. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool that you've got at least one high school kid that's going to be on this squad in one capacity or another that will start to
right.
grow and develop and help the team build, like you said, build a foundation.
Right, and Tyler has a few things that he's got to work on. He's a high school kid, so he was playing against other high school kids, but he had to communicate with guys that were thinking maybe a half step faster.
Yeah.
And maybe what works for him in high school, he needs to maybe amp that up by X% in order to compete at this level. But he'll learn that throughout the summer as he gets more comfortable. And you can imagine he's probably a little nervous. So.
Yeah. I think that's something that I found when I was watching the game, that even though MTA had played together and it was clear that they knew what they were doing, they were kind of on their heels a lot of the time. They were doing a lot of backwards passing, a lot of side-to-side passing because...
they never got forward.
Yeah, because they were being kind of outworked. They were just, like you said, they're pre-men playing against a bunch of men, and so it wasn't the best glimpse of what either team was about. But
right. But again, we were missing a lot of guys. So to come away with a victory against a team that's more organized and has played together...
Yeah,
especially wearing Stegman's jerseys. I mean, Stegman's 1, MTA 0.
It was a ton of fun. It was a scrappy victory.
But we're going to look into the future, and we're probably going to end up playing those guys again a couple times, and we really appreciate them having us out. We're probably going to add a referee next time because it got a little chippy.
Yeah, it did, and I think both coaches on the sidelines had to kind of scream as a whistle. Stop.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. Sounds like you got a couple referees waiting to help out.
Oh yeah, just beating them off with sticks.
Yep.
Just guys lining up to referee a friendly match.
But I am happy. I did get to talk to Coach Kicker after the game to kind of talk about what's going on with the team, what's going on with his vision for the team. And one of the first things I wanted to talk about was exactly what he was looking for at a scrimmage like the one that we got to see against MTA. So let's hear what he had to say.
So, we just want to play around with formations. We want to play around with the guys in different positions to try to see where they can perform the best. I mean, the idea is that, you can't force a guy to play a position well. You have to kind of figure out where they do the best to help them reach their full potential. And I think that's kind of what we're doing. We're moving guys around and just trying to see where they fit best.
Nate, I think Coach Kicker, in his response, kind of hit the nail on the head when you talk about a training match like this. And you could really see that with the players he was moving around. Especially we talked about Chris Riera, who started at left mid in the first half.
Yep.
And then moved to defensive central mid the second half.
Yeah, and I saw some guys were starting off as center backs, ended up moving to kind of a reserve forward,
like a target forward,
hanging back a little bit. Yep. Yeah. And I think that's at this stage it feels like you just got to know what kind of pieces you have and what players are capable of before you really slot them into where you feel like they belong.
Right, especially too is we still haven't picked the team yet.
Yeah.
So we've picked a pool of players that we'd like to have in, but there's still the opportunity for us to find a diamond in the rough here or there, or have a guy who is a commitment come back. Even our open combine, we still have the chance for people to come in. So this is and the guys that were there. Definitely don't want to discount the fact that they were involved, but those guys are in the system. If they want to be in, they're in. Mm-hmm. But we haven't selected our top 18 for who's going to play this summer.
Cool. So then I asked them how many roster spots they're looking to fill. I think that was, that's a nice segue into this. I want to know what kind of the interest level is like in the process that they're going through.
We're looking to fill 22 to 24 roster spots. We've had 30 guys try out so far. We've got a combine coming up that's about 25 guys are signed up for. We've got about 30 guys that are out of state in college that have shown interest via email that they, some of the top programs in the country, that when they get back to Minnesota, they want to come try.
we didn't want to roll out a squad and then drive to Milwaukee, and especially me being a Milwaukee guy, I don't want to roll up there with something with my name attached to it and just get boat raced like 8-0. You know, like I didn't want that to happen. But you know, we're listening to Coach Kicker talk, and he's 100% right. We started out with a few signings here and there and invited some guys to open trials. And then next thing we know, one guy who we like, who we want to sign, or one guy who's already signed has told 3 other guys. And then those 3 guys are calling. And then those 3 guys tell another guy, like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we played in summer together? Check this out. Apparently millennials like Twitter because our Twitter
the kids are interested in Twitter.
they're blowing up. So he's 100% right. Like we and you mentioned in there too, we're casting a wide net.
Yeah. Cool. So I was kind of talking to him then based on that, what kind of programs locally he's looking at, whether it's a college program, whether it's club programs. He has a few in mind that he's keeping an eye on.
So we've been in contact with St. Thomas, Augsburg, Bethel, obviously the assistant coach or associate head coaches at Bethel. Looking at Bethel, we looked at the University of Minnesota, so we're looking at all the top MIAC schools and club teams in the area, as well as reaching out to MTA to figure out what the top Division I, II, and III college guys are out of state.
So it sounds like there's always going to be options, always places to find new players, which is great in the future. The first game coming up is May 21st. It's an away game in Milwaukee. But the problem that I see is that there are guys that are coming back, guys that are signed that are in college, coming back within a week or 2 before that. So I asked the coach what his approach is going to be to get this team to gel, how he's going to game plan for a game full of players that may not have played with each other for very long.
That is, that first game is going to be kind of we're going to do it, we compete type game, assuming that it's going to take me 2 to 3 weeks to get these guys playing at full steam. We're not going to make our final roster decision until June 1st.
Okay.
So we're going to probably have a out-of-state college-only combine in mid-May, and then just kind of figure out the top 14, 16 guys from that and get them in the mix, and we'll figure out our best 11 and travel with 18 and see what we can do. I mean, the first couple games of the season are going to be tough, just because of that timing issue.
So it sounds like it could be tough, maybe doing a little building the plane while it's still in the air. John, what's your take on that? How is this team going to come together?
Well, first off, we cannot lose the Milwaukee Bavarians. Since I am a former Bavarian, I don't care what we put together, but we cannot lose to those guys. The first game, I will have a strong crowd coming from Milwaukee to the game, as well as we're going to have a strong crowd coming from Minneapolis, being that it is our first game as an organization. But to answer your question, you get to a point in your soccer abilities and in your soccer career, and when you're at a certain age range, it doesn't really matter who you play with. If you're good enough, you're able to adjust to the playing style that the guys around you need. Mm-hmm. And the way more teams are successful are the ones that sharpen themselves together versus having a hodgepodge all-star team.
Yeah.
And we definitely don't want that. So when Keith was talking about the fact that it's going to kind of be rough first couple games, we'll definitely be hitting our stride at a certain point. But we have the guys in the system that, as long as communication is there, their skill sets and their ability to play the game are going to take over, and we'll be fine. We'll be able to compete.
Familiarity with each other is just kind of a nice to have. Like, it's once it falls into place, it's even better, but it's not something that's necessary for success in the league.
Well, I mean, look at a team like Bayern Munich, and then when they translate into the German national team, like how many guys play together?
It's almost the same damn team.
Right, exactly. So the continuity there is they know where a guy's going to be when they lump a ball into space. They know the guy's going to be there, and it's not going to go out of bounds. The guy's making the run. It might go out of bounds one every 10 times because the guy's tired or someone stepped on his foot. But so if you think about it, like the players we're bringing in, they'll be just fine. They really will be just fine. We brought in some really good firepower, and we had the opportunity to bring in more firepower. It'll just be that finding what's the magic ticket and the magic combination when we go into playing these other teams.
Yeah. So as he's putting this club together, and as the players start to gel, I did ask him what his goals are for the 2016 season.
Ideally, I want us to be able to compete. I want us to eventually, over time, over the next year or two, we want to evolve into a college-only player team in this league. It's primarily a men's league. So for the 2016 season, I want everybody to come into this thing and get some really good players out, have some really good prospects for the future, compete in every game, I think 500 is achievable. I think, 6-2 is probably our goal. Maybe drop a game or here or there on the road. But other than that, I think that's what my looking good going into 2017 season is probably the two things I have my biggest objectives.
So 6-2, he's maybe being a little humble there.
I'm gonna say 8-0.
But
screw it, man, straight to the top, year one.
What I thought was the most interesting part about that little clip was his goal for the team to be college only in the future. What do you think about that, John? It feels like an interesting take.
Well, when you say college only, I'd like to maybe shape that a little bit into more local only. Mm-hmm. So not necessarily that we want to have 100% all college kids, because you're going to have the outliers that are guys who just graduated, who maybe are still looking for a job in soccer versus a job at General Mills or Target. Mm-hmm. So the players that are coming back, college only is absolutely is a great idea. But, the guys that are coming back, say you get a guy like Sam Forsgren who's going into his junior year. He's not going to be here for 4 years. He's going to play 1-2 years tops. And then, but there's going to be players that are 2 years, 3 years younger than him that maybe played somewhere else that are like, oh, I played with Sam back in the day when I was a kid for Minnesota Thunder Academy or something. So these guys know each other, and they know from either playing with each other or playing against each other in the youth ranks. So I think that when we say college only, it'd be great to get like the Division I All-American team, all in one spot. But we don't know that's ever going to happen, or the Division II All-Americans, or whatever. We're not going to get an all-star team together. But what we want is this to be an opportunity for people in Minneapolis or Minnesota to be able to watch homegrown talent, whether it be they're year 1, 2, 3, 4 in college, or they're just out of college.
Yeah, I think, and that in turn probably will build the loyalty of the fans for the team too, when they know that these guys are all local guys coming back to play and not just transplants or something. That's pretty cool.
It also breeds that my fish was this big story. Like, oh man, I used to play against Sam Forsgren and when I was in 5th grade, and he wasn't that good back then.
Yeah, well,
And then he scores a blinder, and then everyone's like, he's like, oh yeah, well you played against. Oh, I played against him. I shut him down. He's so good.
Cool. Well, I think that's an exciting vision for the team. I did also want to ask the coach, as a fan, planning on hitting the games. I'll be there for all of them because A, we're going to be doing the podcast, so I want to make sure I see them all. But right. B, it's an exciting time for Minnesota soccer. But just for the casual fan that might want to come out to 1 or 2 games in the season, I asked him what the can't-miss game is for 2016, and he had a couple ideas.
I would like to say the away game at Milwaukee Bavarians, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But I think the home games, both of them, against Minnesota United Reserves.
All right.
I think you got a lot of Minnesotans playing against Minnesotans, and I think it's going to be really physical. You got a pro team and a semi-pro team, and they've got all men's league guys, and we're going to have majority college players. So it's going to be young versus old, and I think that's going to reflect in our style of a full press defense and possess and attack quickly on offense.
So the Bavarians' rivalry is just on fire from the start here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier today, and I will continue to say throughout the year, I'm a former Bavarian. My whole family were Bavarians. And it's no joke that I want nothing more than 2 victories when we go there. Plus, it's our first game as an organization. Shots fired from me to the Bavarians, but shots fired from you to anyone who's Croatian.
Any Croatians, I think. I think it's just we've got 2 opportunities to beat up on some Croatians. I wouldn't say shots are fired. It's more of just I'm just curious to see exactly what it means to be a Croatian footballer here in Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah, but to go back to what Coach Kicker said, the Bavarians are going to be tough. It's our first game as an organization. To the fans that are listening out there, we are in the works of trying to get mass transportation and hotel rooms for a package together for our fans to come down and to see the game there. I'm going in general because my family's from there, so Nate, you can stay at my parents' house if you want to come down for that one versus some skeezy hotel in Bayshore, Milwaukee. But the other side of the coin that Coach Kicker talked about was the Minnesota United Reserves. Of course, you're not going to want to miss that one. Anything that Bill McGuire touches, we want to definitely make sure we get the best of. Mm-hmm. But he said it correctly. They don't sign anyone who's in college. Why? I have no idea. I think it's because of the fact they want to be able to try to bring them up throughout the season. I would be really hard-pressed if they didn't sign a bunch of foreign guys because they're only allowed a certain amount of foreign spots on their first-team roster, and they've already hit that allocation.
Yeah.
So, you think about it, that if they do want a strong reserve squad, they bring in these foreign guys and then from wherever with the ability to take a slot if a guy gets injured who's not an American.
Yep.
So, who knows what they're going to look like.
Well, it's not uncommon for the team to have players from Mexico, Colombia, even Africa. So these guys are coming still to play.
Brazil,
yeah. Nothing too crazy there.
Right.
So that was cool. I really liked the opportunity to talk to him. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to chat a couple more times over the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see how everything evolves in his head. It's really an awesome experience to be able to have that kind of access to him.
Right, yeah, and being that I am one of the founders, Nate, you can have access to whoever you'd like.
Yeah, man, backstage passes all day long.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk about the supporters group for Minneapolis City SC. First of all, explain to me what a supporters group is.
Well, they're the diehard fans. They're the ones that they'll be behind the goal. Mm-hmm. They'll be making the tifos. Mm-hmm. Those big fabric things that you see.
Yeah, the huge flags they're waving.
Yeah, they'll have flags.
There's guys with drums.
Drums, yeah. Maybe we'll get a trumpet.
Yeah.
Love to have a trumpet. If there are any trumpeters out there.
I was down in Rio and saw a Botafogo game.
Wow, humble brag.
Yeah, humble brag. I've been to Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah,
and
I just
took the creepiest Brazilian bus across Rio to this Botafogo game at Maracana there, and the supporters groups there are not unlike the supporters groups here, and I can only imagine what the fervor that some of these guys are going to bring to a brand new team at their first game.
And so our supporters group are called the Citizens. We are the city.
Yep, Minneapolis City.
Yeah, Citizens with a Z. Mm-hmm. If you'd like to find out any more about them, they are located at www.citizens, CITIZEN, SSG, probably for supporters group.com. So thecitizensSG.com. And so I know for a fact that the supporters group, the Citizens, have broken off from a faction of the Dark Clouds who support Minnesota United.
Oh, so they're just looking for something new?
I don't know if it's something new, but I think they're looking at supporting something in addition to.
Right.
And something that's a little more accessible.
A little more in their backyard.
Right. And like I said before, outside of 2 times a year, I'm a Minnesota United supporter. It's the highest level of soccer we have in the state of Minnesota. The reserve team can go shove it twice a year because we play against them.
Yep.
But the first team, I fully support them. I watched a delayed stream of their game against Portland. Didn't work out so good against Portland for them. 2 red cards and giving up 4 goals in your first game of the year. Even though they're the MLS champion, that's not a good way to start. But they will bounce back. They have the players in the squad to do it. But the Citizens broke off from the Dark Clouds, and I know they're continuing to support Minnesota United, but they just want something a little bit different. And that's kind of what we started this for, was something a little bit different, a little bit closer, a little more attainable. And that's what they're looking for, and they've been great. They're awesome on Twitter.
So is it because of the new logo and the kind of black and white but very heavily black logo that we've got? They're calling themselves the Crows.
Yeah, I think it's a little loon crow rivalry.
Okay, that makes total sense, and I like that. That's gonna be interesting. Those couple games this season when we play Minnesota United reserves.
And I have to be, plead ignorance on this. I don't know how much the fans actually support Minnesota United reserves. I don't know if anyone really goes out to see those games. I'd have to think that at least now, with us involved, that they'll be coming to the games that we play against them because of the fact that we're a crosstown rival. But like I said, I'm pleading ignorance. I don't know. I mean, I can find out. I can fact check, but I try to pride myself in the fact that I don't fact check for this podcast. But the Crows. So we're technically a murder, I guess.
A murder.
Yeah, we're murderers.
Well, I'm really excited to see how this develops and what this group turns into. Let's talk about what's going on next week, man. We're just about out of time, but next week we want to get to some player signings. We really haven't talked about any of the players that we have for sure on the squad, and there's going to be even more of them coming and committing over the next week.
Yeah, next couple weeks, I think, and actually as we move into mid-March, we're gonna have some guys coming back for spring break, and they're gonna get in the mix too.
Cool.
But yeah, so next week we're gonna do some player signing talk. If you follow us on Twitter, you've seen the players we're gonna talk about. We're gonna get a little bit more in depth into those guys. Nothing new. Really to report. We're like I said, we're still formatting the team and what the full roster is going to look like, and then we're going to interview the chairman, Mr. Dan Hudeman. We're gonna interview the guy that was the vision, the figurehead, the founder of Minneapolis City, and the guy who I used to play under 10-11 soccer with, and for Coach Stegman, who was the namesake for Stegman Soccer Club. So
you grew up with this guy, and I've known Dan for a couple years myself, so this could be a pretty good conversation.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of inside jokes. Apologize early.
Oh, you sure know how to sell it.
Yeah. But you're gonna get into the brain behind this idea, and hats off to Dan. I was one of the founders that said we should wait a year and get our ducks in a row, and he said no, the time to strike is now, and he was 100% right. We could not be coming to market with the problems that Minnesota United is going through. Like I said, we support them, but we may be getting the casual United fan who may want to come check us out, or even the diehard who's looking for something different. So hats off to Mr. Hudeman, who's going to be on next week. So anything you'd like to add for next week?
No, I think that's going to do it for us. I want to make sure to thank Summit one more time, our official craft beer sponsor, the official sponsor of the People's Pitch. Make sure to head to summitbrewing.com for all of the 30th anniversary news. There's tons of great stuff going on coming up from Summit.
Yep, a couple new Unchained series that just came out.
Always delicious.
Yep, always delicious.
And that's it. We're just going to leave you as usual with our closing song from our house band, Go Get 'Em Tiger. It's Kicks on a Wire. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. We will talk to you next week. I have been Nate.
And I'm John. Kicks on a Wire.
Woo!